And I watched my scores balloon and my handicap, balloon. And I was just always open to seeing something new and different and something that could help online. And I came across Dean's information, one of his advertisements on Facebook that just talked about, hey, are you serious about, putting away all of these other things, the gimmicks and the tools and stuff like that, and getting serious about your game. He said, if basically in this advertisement, if you have the time, we can get you into the 70s and even low 70s. And I am a competitive person. It's the job that I'm in. And so that spoke to me. I want to be the best golfer that I can be. And so that really hit home.
Absolutely. And so then what happened?
I got on a brief call with one of Dean's associates. He just asked me what my history, what my experience had been playing golf, what my scores had been like, some specifics as to how many putts are you, typically hitting, how do you feel about your flexibility, what's your mindset like, things like that, because I understood in that conversation that it was an interview for me as much as it was an interview of the program. They want to make sure that they've got a student that is going to devote the time and the resources to the program to get everything that they can out of it. And we found that it looked like a match.
So what surprised you most about the program before we get into your results?
Honestly, that it took, a little while to pick up a golf club. There was a few sessions that I had with Dean where we just talked about what are your goals, where do you want to see your game in 3 months, 6 months, keeping a journal, keeping a brag book, all of these mental tools that had nothing to do with a golf club, that he uses as tools and encourages us to use as tools to help support our growth. And then all of the fitness stuff, just flexibility training. After you do the flexibility for weeks, I was begging, hey, let me get back to doing some strength stuff. And at that point, we started getting on that end of things. So I would say that was the thing that surprised me the most, is just, it's not about, here's a golf club, let me tell you how to swing it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and so then you started the program, you're in the program for, like you said, you have 3-month goals, for example, and then 6 months goals. What did those look like for you? What kind of results were you turning around?
Yeah, I mean, as aggressive as I want to be internally with my goals, I always wanted to be somewhat conservative in writing them down, just because you don't want to disappoint yourself. And Dean really kind of challenged me not to do that. Be aggressive. Like, I think during the first call, what would you like to shoot? And I was like, man, if I could shoot, a 78 with some regularity, that would be wonderful. Why 78? Why wouldn't you go lower than that? We can go lower than that. So I really challenged myself with those goals, and some of them I hit, and some of those benchmarks I didn't quite hit. But I'm working a full-time job. I had a child who was a year and a half old at that point, a year to a year and a half old. I had a lot of things, soaking up my time. I still made time for this, and the successes came really, really fast for me. So
tell me about them.
Yeah. So when I started working with Dean, my handicap, like I said, had ballooned to, almost to 15. Within just a couple of weeks, it was really before we even started talking about the full swing. Just the mental portion of it had wiped away, so many of my bad thoughts, my negative, defeating, self-defeating thoughts before I would address a ball or even while I was swinging. And so, one of my goals was get back into the mid to low 80s with some regularity, within a month's time. And he had me doing that. And in fact, I would say the first or second round, I went out and played, not just, 9 holes or something like that. I think I shot an 81 in that area, which had been, I think that was the lowest score I'd had in almost a year. And that was just after some putting and some mental training and some, some conversations with Dean. So it was really quick, the turnaround that I saw.
Very cool. Very cool. And what kind of increases have you seen since then?
It's just continued all the way down. It had been a couple of years since I shot any rounds in the 70s. I've shot a couple of rounds in the 70s since I started working with Dean. I shot my all-time lowest round, and this has been a few months back. I shot a 76, earlier this year, which was a really great round. I've gone out and played at some of the toughest courses with friends who have played there before and who had similar handicaps. I played Victoria National. I played Sage Valley. I played Valhalla, and I shot consistently in low to mid 80s. I was the best in a group of 8, all with similar handicaps to mine at over 3 days. In every round at Sage Valley, I was the low round. So that was a lot of fun on a really challenging, unfamiliar track. But the coolest thing for me is, for the first time in my life, I'm a single digit handicap. I've always been, my low watermark 12, and more often than not, I'm at 15 or 16. And like I said, when I started with Dean, I was 14 pushing 15. And I've been 9.5 to 9 over the last few months now. So it's been great. And all I see are positive trends still kind of continuing. Some of my best rounds I'm having right now. So I see that, a couple more 70s popping up there, and probably getting lower than my career best. I think 76 is something that's no longer a benchmark for success for me. I think shooting par is something that I'm looking forward to, and I'm going to hit soon.
That's amazing. Is that your next goal?
Yep, absolutely. Yep. If I can go out there and shoot even par, then I know that's the new goal every time I wake up and jump on the course.
Great. And what do you really see as possible longer term with really embracing this training?
Yeah, I mean, that's the exciting thing about it. Like I said, I've got a youngster around here. I've got a job that requires me to travel quite a bit. So there have been periods in my training with Dean where I've had to take a break of a week or 2 weeks or something like that, which is not, what he would recommend for his program. I think I'm a little bit of an exception there. So what's exciting for me is I still have a little bit of his course material to chew through. So if I'm already shooting, rounds in the 70s, if I've already taken my handicap down 5 strokes and there's still course material to digest, then I think sky's the limit for me. I think I could fire low rounds consistently for a long time. I could narrow that single digit handicap down to something very respectable, 2, 3, 4 handicap. And I think I could do it for years. I think Dean's given me a gift that I can enjoy for the next 30, maybe even 40 years.
Great. And will you describe what it's like working with Dean?
Yeah, Dean's awesome. I mean, he's very efficient. He's very straightforward. He's not the coach that's going to get on the call with you and coddle you and tell you, hey, you're looking much better. This is what I'd like to see. And he's not the hard edge guy who's, gonna make you feel bad about yourself if things aren't progressing the way that you want. I like the balance that he strikes, because he'll get on the phone and he'll say, Matt, tell me what's bothering you. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. What are your successes? What are your failures? And what do you want to get out of this call? He lets you kind of set the bar. And I would do that on every call with Dean. And sometimes it was, Dean, I'm happy. Like, everything's going really well. I'm looking forward to tearing through the next course that we have to work with. He'd release the next tranche of material to me. And sometimes I would say, Dean, I feel like I'm coming too far inside, or I feel like I'm not balanced. He'd say, let me take a look. And, we'd go through a few swings. He would show me, demonstrate to me what perhaps I was doing wrong, and how he would suggest I fix it. And so, the calls were very straightforward. And then the other thing that I liked is all of his training is, twofold. One, it's his block training videos where he gives you a 45-minute or an hour-long video of him just reinforcing that right move over and over again. It's very nuanced. It's very specific. It's not, here's what a good golf swing looks like. It's like, here's what the trigger looks like. Here's what the hip turn. Here's what the squat looks like. and each of those are its own module. And then within that, here are 10 training videos that I endorse that will help you reinforce that single thing that you're trying to fix right now. And so you really rebuild your swing, simple, very minute move by minute move, and to the point where all those things feel natural to you.
Amazing. So good. Well, and if somebody was considering using Dean as a coach, would you recommend him, and why?
I would absolutely recommend Dean. I mean, it's very simple. I mean, just for what he's done for me, the way my game has changed. I went to, other coaches, and I even ones that I could see here in person, and I went to training centers. I got the new clubs, I got the new tools, I watched the video. Like I'm pretty voracious in my willingness to take in material and learn. And I haven't had the rapid success with any of those things that I've had with Dean. So why wouldn't I recommend the guy who's actually made the difference?
Amazing. Amazing. Well, you've answered all my questions. I think what I want to do is just open up the floor. And if you have anything to communicate, either to Dean or anything you haven't said that you'd like to say, go right ahead.
I just want to say thank you to Dean. I've told him before, but I'll tell him now here. Thank you, Dean. I appreciate everything that you've done for me in my golf game. It's made my house a lot more peaceful place on Saturdays and Sundays after I get home from a round. So I'm sure my wife would thank you for that as well. I'd say to anybody out there who's thinking about, is this program right for me? Is the expense of the program worth it? Yeah, absolutely it is. And, if you care about your game, if you go out there every week or every other week, and you're a competitive person and you want to play with good players and you want to beat good players, this might not be the only way, but it is certainly a way to do that. So, feel justified in splurging on yourself, because it pays off.